Pounders. Today we are jumping into a live draft and we're going to take a look at some of these early and juicy ADPs for the 2023 season on Underdog. If you want to learn how we put up a 41% ROI in cash games on Underdog, make sure you join the Pounders. We are live, jumping right into it. Another way too early draft, but is there such thing, really? And you can see JJ off the board, followed by Travis Kelce at 2, Chase at 3, and look at these badgeless animals. We are the only ones in this draft with the badge. This is absolutely beautiful. It shows that the app is growing, that there's money to be made with fresh blood now joining us on Underdog. Welcome, newcomers, welcome. Let's see what Ryan HCS does at the 5 spot. We have Cooper Kupp, pretty insane value at 5, putting up 75 catches, 800 yards, 6 touchdowns, even rushing 9 times, 52 yards and a touchdown in 9 games. So he was on his way to finish as wide receiver 1 again before the injury, and they probably could have brought him back at the end of the season, but what for? Because the Rams were not in the playoffs, and with the Staffy injury, it was just really a wash of a year for that team. Austin Eckler at 6, Tyreek Hill at 7, beautiful picks. Stephon Diggs, one of the most consistent guys, especially in these cash games, exactly what you're looking for, and we're gonna be picking at 12. Let's see what we do here. We see Tyreek Hill going at 6, Eckler falling to 7. We'll see if we get one of these 4 receivers to fall. If not, we could always go like an Amon-Ra, St. Brown, and bring it back with one of these 2 studs. At the 12 spot, we're going to want to get a running back early and a receiver. We're looking for touches from guys that have for sure roles. Whereas, during and after the NFL draft where we have more information, we can put off running back. Right now, we want the guys with the for sure roles. Lamb goes. So let's scoop A.J. Brown. I won't go against my word. Let's get Saquon Barkley. It's easier to find receivers later that have roles than it is running backs, obviously, because we don't know what's going to happen in the NFL draft. That is my biggest tip for these way too early drafts. Get those guys with the touches. That's simple. See St. Brown going at 14. I 100% agree with this. These 3 QBs are going a little too early. I think T. Higgins will climb up this board. Jalen Waddle's an amazing value. Derrick Henry to Kenneth Walker. I think that's where the tier jump happens to the second tier of running backs. So you have your top 5, and then Kenneth Walker right below that. Josh Jacobs, we have some uncertainty with where he is going to be going in the offseason, whether he gets re-signed or not. And guys, I'm going to edit this video down for you so you don't have to wait in between picks. For max value, all you have to do is hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know if you like these style videos. Hit the bell for notifications. You can jump in some of these live drafts with us on the Pounders. If you guys don't already know, it's half-point scoring, pretty standard. After that, you're going to be starting 1 QB, 3 receivers, 2 running backs, 1 tight end, 1 flex. And in the off-season, before the NFL draft, you get 10 bench spots instead of 8. So we're getting an extra 2 rounds, basically because of the uncertainty of what the draft is going to do to the players you already drafted. A lot's going to change. So there is an importance around drafting wide receivers, having to start 3 of them every single week. And if you haven't already signed up for Underdog, what are you doing? If you like drafting for fantasy football, if you like smashing your friends and being the most prepared come draft season, get on Underdog. Use promo code FANTASYDOGPOUND for a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. You put 100 in, you get 200 instantly right in your account, and you're in, and you're drafting, and you're having fun. That's what we do. We have fun. Garrett Wilson at pick 24. Let me know if I'm the crazy one or if that is just way overpriced. ETN going at 26. Nice balanced squad here from the number 2 guy. No one is on auto pick, which is fantastic. Joe Burrow going at 27, followed by Devonta Smith. So we're not going to be interested in those early quarterbacks just yet until their ADP settles in further. They'll go to the back of the 2nd round in a matter of time. We do like Justin Fields here in the 3rd. Some of these running backs, Ramondre Stevenson, Joe Mixon, are decent values here. Mark Andrews a good value. Hopkins and Ridley as well. We see 3 running backs fly off the board. Harris is really good value. Going to get a full year without Mitch Trubinsky, which is a positive thing. Cooper off the board before DeAndre Hopkins, I believe, is a terrible mistake. Let's fill in with 3 wide receiver ones. Can you go wrong doing that? Can you really go wrong? Calvin Ridley was a top 5 guy when he was in action. Yeah, I get it. He put $1,000 on a game. He made a mistake. Big mistake. Big money mistake. But he's fresh, and he should be ready, and he's going to be in a good situation playing in Jacksonville. That is just crying for a wide receiver 1, and that is what he's going to provide. I'd probably put Kittle in front of Dalvin Cook, along with Justin Herbert. Javonte Williams I'd put in front of Dalvin Cook and Swift. Hawkinson's probably going a little too soon. So some of these early values, we can already start to identify what we like and what we don't and take advantage of them while they still last. We see Mark Andrews falling to 42. That's going to be an extremely good value. I mean, just because of a down year, you had Lamar Jackson getting hurt, there's a really good chance his value could be, you know, in this range, expected value. So getting him in the 4th is beautiful. Chef's kiss almost. Mike Williams off the board at 43. Always a good best ball guy. Spikes into the lineups. Justin Fields going at 45. Really good value there. Followed by Dalvin Cook. Let's see who's going to make their way back to us. We have so far 7 QBs off the board and 2 tight ends. So we might be picking in this range, which is going to be a little bit of the dead zone. We don't expect Kittle to make it back. This is sort of what I'm looking at. Christian Kirk, I think he's going too early with the addition of Calvin Ridley to this Jacksonville offense. Kyle Pitts going a little too late. Now, I was a Kyle Pitts hater last year due to Marcus Mariota not being known for throwing the ball. And what they do all last year, they ran the ball. So this year under Ritter, I think Kyle Pitts is the best value in this dead zone, and I fully expect him not to stay here. He will definitely be moving up in this Keenan Allen range, if not even sooner in the draft. Would really like to get one of these running backs with Kyle Pitts. Would be an absolute dream. But I have a feeling Kyle Pitts is going to be reached on. We got just me starting with 4 running backs. It's not a good look. There goes Kyle Pitts at 56. Pierce at 57. It's just Snipe City right now. It is Snipe City. DJ Moore and Miles Sanders are looking like the play. Also like a Lockett. Every year, Tyler Lockett is disrespected. We're going to go Miles Sanders. That offensive line is looking beautiful. He's a little banged up right now, so they're going with the 3 running back approach. But this is a guy that averages a good amount of touches every single game. Doesn't have the injury history that J.K. Dobbins does. As you can see, we have some high upside wide receivers. We're most likely going to have to go 3 tight ends, 3 QBs with this roster construction. And sometimes that's the best way to get value. Picking at 12, you just have to let the value drop to you. You sort of do have to reach for your guys when you're picking at 1 and 12. One of the disadvantages. Beast mode, going 6 wide receivers in a row. Bold move. Let's see if it works out. J.K. Dobbins falling to 68. Ayuk and Evans. And then I have a tier fall off right after this. Crew to the George Pickens, Jameson Williams. Again, this is like another dead zone you have here. So I like to just go QB. Tyler Algier. Cam Akers picked it up at the end of the season. But yeah, Tyler Algier is probably my favorite in this range, but QB will be my go-to. And in tournaments, we'll get some Treylon Burks for some upside. Second-year receiver should have an uptick next year. The board's starting to get a little thin, and I don't mind the 12 spot right now. If these QBs can fall to us. You do have Dalton Schultz, who is a free agent this year. He did finally get on the same page with Dak near the end of the season, having two touchdown games. One of them was in the playoffs. Actually, one of them spiked into our 25K winning lineup on Battle Royale on Underdog. You can check that video out after this one. See how you can win Battle Royale for next season and get your goat horns. This guy's not on auto draft. He goes Bateman. Let's go Tua and Dalton Schultz. Nice little balanced build. We get another solid tight end, and we would only have to go 2. We get another solid QB, and I'm comfortable only going 2 there as well. Here we see a run of QBs. This guy pairs Deshaun Watson with Danny Dimes, both with rushing upside. I like that. This team brings in Kirk Cousins along with Patrick Mahomes. Might be a little too early for me for the second QB. Typically put it off until one of your last rounds, to be honest. If you're spending that high on Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, and Jared Goff, probably could have stopped at 2 QBs there or gone a super late QB. You don't have to go Jared Goff here. You need to stack. You need to get a tight end. You need wide receivers. So the one spot, we got Khan going Dak, Evan Ingram. His last two were Kyler and Evan Ingram. Pairing the 2 QBs here. He's got 2 tight ends already. So far, just a 1 RB build. Something that I'm going to do more of for tournament style, especially after the NFL draft. But in these cash games early, give me the for sure running back points from the studs. Evan Ingram, I do not have him this low on my board. Like, with the addition of Calvin Ridley, Ingram and Zay Jones should not be going this early. We would like one of these guys. We'll see what happens. David Montgomery is a free agent this year. Russell Wilson off the board. Zeke off the board. Njoku off the board. Khalil Herbert gets stolen. As you can see, the 1-2 punch there. Right to the jaw. Deserved. Let's go Kareem Hunt. No matter where he goes, he should be in a good situation with his skill set. Should be getting the ball plenty. And let's bring in Jacoby Myers. Myers is someone that is, again, he's a great cash game guy. He has an extremely high floor, good route runner, and we'll see. In New England, I'm confident that he will outscore his ADP right here. And if he gets moved to a better offense, obviously that's a good situation. Little risk if he moves on from New England, but you got to take risks. He's a relatively safe player to take a risk on. We're going to be looking most likely at like a Ritter late in this draft to add with Tua. And we have some good value tight ends here in Gerald Everett, Juwan Johnson, Trey McBride, especially if DeAndre Hopkins moves on. Yes, please. So here we are definitely looking to add a running back and potentially a tight end, seeing who is still there out of these 2, if possible. If not, we could divert to a QB as well. It's just tough because it's such an ugly range for QB. There's a lot of unknown with every single one of these players that I think I'm just most comfortable right now going to Desmond Ridder, who's going to have a full offseason to play as the QB1 with the first offense. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Tyler Algier, who finished strong at the end of the season, kind of won the job over CPAT. Matthew Stafford being one of the biggest question marks in this offseason, going to want to monitor his offseason OTAs. Obviously, it's super early right now, so there's a lot of unknown, which makes these drafts sort of fun. It's a first look ADP, and if we can take less risks than other people, then I think we will profit more in these, just going with the for certain touches, for certain target percent guys, etc. People that are drafting Brock Purdy, Stafford, Derek Carr, so much unknown that the swing is going to be too much. In my opinion, Staffy I like the best out of these remaining QBs though. We're next up. Could the dream be true? Will Cole Kmet fall to 132? Didn't mean to rhyme, but it smashed. Can we just see what happened here real quick? He went Greg Dulcich over Cole Kmet. That guy knows something. That guy might have a galaxy-sized brain. I don't feel that I need to reach here on Gerald Everett yet. Not loving Lazard. Based on my wide receivers, they're pretty strong room. Let's go Jeff Wilson. Let's get some more touches in this backfield. I'd rather take a shot a little later on like an Alec Pierce, who's going around pick 151, who's a deep shot guy. Now, he may not fall, and that's okay. We will just readjust. Someone like Curtis Samuel would also do just fine. Yeah, let's take Gerald Everett off the board. Now that we have our second tight end, we don't feel forced to go a third, but where we don't know the bye weeks, you could get a little unlucky with that, with the uncertainty there. Just Me's last 3 picks were Rodgers, Derek Carr, and Jimmy G. Yikes. 4 running backs, followed by 4 wide receivers, a tight end, and then 3 QB. Nice. Strange. Beast mode going 6 wide receivers, followed by 3 stud RBs with high upside, and David Montgomery, and then 2 QBs. Still think this is way too early for Mac Jones. This is earlier than he was going last year, and he had an extremely bad year. Now, if they bring someone like a DeAndre Hopkins, which that is what the buzz is all about, sure, we'll move him up. But until then, give me a quarterback that's going 30 picks later in Desmond Ridder that already has those weapons. And they have a defense where the game style that Atlanta has to play is completely different than the one New England wants to play. New England wants to play defense. They want to run the ball. Atlanta wanted to run the ball last year because they had Marcus Mariota. They're going to be a throwing team next year. They're going to have to put points up with their defense being subpar, making Ridder an even safer pick. Our board looking something sort of like this. Zach Ertz going so late due to the MCL and ACL surgery. Hopeful to return before week 1. That's going to be a stretch, but Zach Ertz is a good value for those tournaments where you want him for week 15, 16, 17. You're not as so much concerned about the first 14 weeks, where this is a cash game and it's a cumulative scoring, so every week is just as important as the next. So you have to sort of have your 2 different ADPs. When would I take him? And Underdog doesn't differentiate that for you. So we are actually going to be releasing free cash game rankings for our subscribers to the pound on Underdog, and when they come out, we'll be sending them out for free. So make sure you take advantage of that. Tom Brady off the board. This guy is expecting him to return. It's not gonna happen. At least it won't happen before November. And let's say it does. Is he gonna outscore Josh Allen? If he does, how many times? And by how many points? What's the point margin? I think I have to go Atlanta here. We have wide receivers we can go late that we like. This will shore up my running back room. Cordell Patterson still has the big play capabilities, even if Algier does take the job back over. And we get a little stacky stack. Never hurts. Not necessary for cash games, but if you're right, it will help all the more. We got 4 picks left. It's going to be looking like 1 tight end and 2 receivers. I think Mechie is a really good pick for this offseason. He's expected to be practicing. He got the clear from doctors, which is amazing. It's really good news. So our board for wide receivers looks something like this. Alec Pierce just got taken off the board. Gus Edwards is another good late round running back where you know he's going to get touches. You got Baltimore, who wants to run the ball. They like him there. Dobbins with injury history as well, so there is potential for him to move into that RB1 role there. Now, will Lamar steal carries and touchdowns? Yes, it's going to happen, but we're talking about pick 183. That's good value. Ryan desperately needs a wide receiver here. Goes running back. And this is what I'm talking about, this Jared Goff pick being a huge mistake, is now we're spread too thin at wide receiver and at tight end at 2 places because you spent 2 expensive picks at QB. You can't afford to go a third. You can't afford to. It's going to be extremely tough to come back from that. Conceit goes MVS, Sky Moore, and McCole Hardman. Just throwing darts at this KC offense. Just give me everyone, and we'll talk about the profits later. I don't know how great of a strategy that is, especially seeing as you don't have Patrick Mahomes, and they're not all going to score points, right? Patrick Mahomes does spread the ball. That's one thing about Mahomes is, especially for those battle royales, he can get into the first place lineup without elevating a pass catcher in the offense. Just spreads the ball to everyone. And all of a sudden he has 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. 1 to McKinnon, 1 to Kelsey, 1 to MVS. It'll be interesting to see if they re-sign Juju this year. Tim Patrick off the board was definitely our number 1 receiver we had left on our tier rankings. We're going to go these 2 receivers, unless Beast Mode says otherwise. These are guys we feel that can spike into our starting lineup given the strong players that we have up top. We don't believe that Juwan Johnson will still be here, and that's okay. We still have players like Tyler Conklin and Hunter Henry, who are good values late in the draft, as well as like a Robert Tonyan. And if you scroll down far enough, you can find 31-year-old Logan Thomas, old faithful, dealing with some injuries this year. Maybe he gets healthy in the offseason. Could definitely benefit from that. Juwan Johnson off the board at 187 to the same team that has Taysom Hill. Not my favorite play, but he has Pat Freiermuth as well. Pretty good squad. He's live. He's definitely live. Has some high upside at wide receiver. Held off at running back. Went Connor, Isaiah Pacheco, Singletary, and Samaje Perine. This seems like a dead zone after my 2 picks. The Giants have to add wide receiver help. I don't think Darius Slayton will be a thing next year, unfortunately. Richie James is like a late round Tyler Boyd. I do like Richie James for next year for his value of where he's going at pick 195. I like him better than like a Hunter Renfrow at this price. I think this is the correct price. Matt Collins is a deep shot guy. He's a great draft pick at 195. Same thing with Corey Davis. These guys, their average depth of target Their average depth of target words, A dot, is extremely high on these players, especially same with Rashid Shaheed. All right, we're coming up on the end here. This team needs a tight end. They also need another running back, to be honest. They don't have enough touches, but the Tom Brady pick 100% should have been a running back. Ends up with a decent squad. It's not completely dead. Tom Brady was just a waste of a pick. Even Russell Wilson was a waste of a pick. Too early. Could have definitely put off QB way later. After you go Josh Allen in the second round, like, you're paying, bro. You're paying. Mac Hollins off the board. Corey Davis. The pick here is basically, do you think he's going to be able to stay healthy next year? I'm more interested in Russell Gage, most likely losing Julio next year, so some targets should open up there. And at tight end, as of right now, it's tough to predict, but I think Old Faithful here is our best chance at getting targets at the tight end position. So we'll bring in Logan Thomas. And here's the final team. Let me know how I did, how bad the team came out. I'd love to hear it in the comments. If you guys don't already know, we're doing these almost every single day until 2023 season starts, which is nuts. Join the pound, do the right thing, get our free rankings, and absolutely smash pounders.